All right, so let's talk about this.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with it.
Zillow Group. The news came to me through like a weird video clip of a weekend news anchor interviewing a C-level executive from Zillow. And I saw this. Had several people that sent it to us, by the way. So thank you so much for the Bearded Men of Real Estate contributors that send us these articles. Right when it happened, I got the message. I watched the video. And basically, it's a guy that's control of the data and analytics. I can't remember his position name, but he's on an interview talking to the newscaster about Zillow's Zestimates. And the announcement is Zillow Group is now using its well-known Zestimate value estimation to make cash offers on homes. It's part of the company's push to become a central hub for people to look in to sell their home. There was a tweet from Rich Barton. He says, "We are now a small but important step closer to realizing the big, hairy, audacious goal we set 15 years ago of putting a real price on every rooftop and enabling home shoppers to magically fly over the neighborhoods and see those prices." So Zillow launched the Zestimates in 2006 to the chagrin of many real estate agents around the country. At the time, they were off as much as 14%. In the interview that I saw, in the interview that I saw this weekend, though, they are now off only 1 to 1.5%. And they did not say if they were up or down. So this program launches in about 20 markets, and it launches in a subset of homes within those markets. So it's not everywhere. It's not available everywhere, but it is available with a subset of homes in 20 particular markets. Let me get to a quote from them. The world is going to one click. Why not real estate? That's where we're headed, Barton said. The fact that we've invested every one of these ancillary services and now can begin to stitch them together in a way that a lot of folks who provide point solutions can't or struggle with. This is a big strategic bet. We're really excited about early signals we're seeing, an integrated bundled offering. It just makes so much sense. All right, so that's from GeekWire. It's also from several services. You can kind of Google it. Dan, I want to come to you first, and then I'll bring up some Clubhouse folks, and hopefully we'll get some more comments on the YouTubes. What do you guys think about Zillow using the Zestimate to provide a cash offer, a literal one-click sell?
So, okay, so we've done this. I'm actually on Zillow right now, looking at my house, looking at two houses at the moment.
I think as soon as everyone heard this, that's the first thing you do.
Yeah. Because I've done it before, but I wanted to see the difference, and it's actually gone up by about 10 grand. So I'm curious to know. So they said we were 14% off. So let's just chalk that up to analytics
when they started. Yeah,
and AI. They were new, right? So it's a joke. Right. But I mean, it's been an ongoing joke for ever, and it hasn't really been fixed. And I always kind of give the number about 5 to 10% off, right. And I do say plus or minus. They could be low. They could, because they can't walk into your house. Right. They're not walking into your house to see what you've done. And, sometimes you walk into that house and you're like, dude, this house has it. It's got the chill backyard. It's got the cozy nook that I can sit in the bay window and read my books. It's got all that stuff. If you're not walking in a house as an agent, you can't really give the right value. You can ask the seller when you're pre-qualifying them, hey, out of 1 to 10, what is your house? And try to be very realistic here. But so let's just chalk it up to all that. It's a robot doing these calculations. But my curiosity is, and we've actually had one of our contributors, Clayton, he ran this. He went through the process, and it started his house. It offered at, a very high number. And then we actually wanted a value and actually wanted a realtor to come by. That value dropped.
Interesting.
So I'm curious, and I'm going to run through it myself here on my house. But
I just looked at my house, and it seems like they're about $75,000 low. But they don't know how much work I put into it and what I did to it. And so and one of the issues that I have as a real estate agent is when someone says, hey, can you give me a quick valuation of my home? Just kind of let me know the range. And I give them the range. They're like, that's quite the range. I said, well, it depends on a lot. Like, does your house,
there's a lot going on,
like cat pee, or, is it bougie and looking like Joanna Gaines? Like what? I need to know all the details. So they say, whenever the newscaster asks the fella, how do you calculate these home values? They say that they take the averages and then they make adjustments for, someone having nicer interiors and all this stuff. So they say they make adjustments for that. But right now in my estimate, they're not, but they're also not open in my area. So these may be areas that are, spec homes and they know how it goes. All right. Let me
So,
bring
well,
up
that thinking. So now, let's just say they were saying, "Hey, your house is worth this much," and it was 10% more, and then you want a real value. An agent actually comes by, and it's not that. So that was kind of the bait and switch. Now, right?
yeah.
But
What they're saying now is that it's the value that's on there is going to be their quote.
so that's my next question is, okay, so now I say, okay, cool. I want your iBuyer program. I don't want to stage my house. I don't want any pictures. I just want to sell it to you. So give me that price. Give me a cash offer right now. How are they going to maintain that if they're always off, if they're always over, or is it just going to adjust to what? I don't know. I just don't see how it's profitable if they're not physically seeing the house. Because any investor that I have, they want to see the house. They'll walk through it in 10 minutes, be like, okay, cool, 350. And then they're out. And then that's kind of their number. They don't budge. So I just want to know how it's going to be profitable and how it's not going to become a conflict of interest to have yourself offering for yourself for someone else that you're going to represent on the listing side as well. What?
That you created the valuation for yourself.
That you created the valuation for because you're believed to be a trusted tool, but you're not.
Well, you're a tool.
What?
Okay. So, all right, let me bring up Lance from Clubhouse, who is the CEO of realty.com, I believe it is. I'd love to get his opinion on it, kind of as a competitor in the marketplace. What do you say, Lance?
I think it's pretty interesting. It looks like Zillow is really going to be doing this in select markets with select homes. So I almost feel like they're going to be picking and choosing the homes they offer this on. I looked at my personal home, and I actually have my home for sale in Boca Raton right now. And their Zestimate's actually $167,000 higher than what I'm actually asking for the home. And I know I priced my home competitively within the market right now. So in some areas, the homes are much higher. In some areas, they're much lower. But I think this is almost a publicity stunt to get more listing leads to come their way for the brokerage that they're building right now. And, with all these people looking for these offers, Zillow's making a lot of noise right now. It's making it so, the listings are coming their way without them needing to put in as much effort as they might need to. It's my personal opinion.
Interesting. That reminds me of the old, if we don't sell your house, we buy it.
Right.
That pulls in a ton of people, but no one in the right mind would actually sell it at the price that real estate agent is saying that they would buy it for.
No.
But Lance, it sounds like as soon as they open that up in Boca Raton, you just need to call them up, sell that puppy. Okay, let's see. Let me bring up. Oh wait, hang on, Lance. I see you talking.
So I'd like to see where the difference is between they don't offer it in his area, so they're way overvalued, but he's listed he's 100 and something grand low. Because even with the crazy market, his house is going to get bid up, but not that much. So I'd be interested to see when they do actually offer in his market, will that price come down to where he's listed?
Price readjust, right?
Right.
All right, Lance. Let me come to you. I want to hear what you were saying.
Yeah, and I plan on keeping it. I plan on keeping at least one or two homes on the market, and I'll watch those estimates and see what really happens there because it's interesting to watch it. When they say it's select homes, they're going to just pick the homes that are most lucrative for them, and everything else is just free currency for them to get listings out of. So that's the tactic I see them using here.
Well, or to get views on their website, right?
Yeah, that was my first thought too. Is okay, they're driving the traction, or the traffic, which Lance was saying, and what you echoed, Dan. But also, they know all the data, so they're going to open this up in the markets in which their estimates are the lowest, and the resale prices have been higher. They even monitored those who the agents that put in the info and got the Zillow offer, and then the people were like, "No, I don't want to use the Zillow offer. I want to sell it myself, or I want to sell it through a real estate agent." And they said that those prices were only about 1% off from Zillow's quote. Now, you don't know the fees and all that stuff that was included because I think their fees were a little more. And he didn't say that they sold higher on average 1%. He just said they were 1% different. So if they have that kind of data, then I agree with Lance. They're probably putting this in places where, if Zillow's going to buy it for that, get it on the market because it's probably going to go more. Mike Elizabeth Rodell says through Facebook, she says, unless you're in Arkansas and they don't offer that. So does the one-click purchase include closing costs and fees and stuff? All that, I don't know the terms of the agreement. That's a great question, right? You're looking at the price, but price is really only one term of the contract. What about a lease back? What about, I wonder if they have other terms in like a la carte fashion where you can, do you want a lease back? Do you want us to do this to your house? Do you want to, what do you want? And then you kind of pick what you want. That would make sense, actually.
Yeah, well, because when it first came out, the iBuyer program, it was, well, they're not competition for us, they're competition for investors. So they're just going to come in and undervalue something and then get it and then do their little flip and sell it, right? So how do these two work together is the question for me.
Let's bring up Charlene. Hopefully she's here. Charlene, tell us who you are and what market you work, and what do you think about this Zillow thing?
Sure. I work at Redfin. I'm a listing specialist. So I have a lot of insight on the Zillow stuff and Redfin now because we have a platform for cash offers too. So my territory is Northeast LA and San Gabriel Valley, in LA. And I actually done a couple consults for homes that, done the Zillow estimate because, Redfin and Zillow, I wouldn't say we're direct competitors because Zillow is not a brokerage, but we both do have the cash offer platform. And so one of them, I did a consult in Hollywood, and I saw that Zillow bought it and then they put it up on the market, but they couldn't sell it for the price that they were trying to get it. It was on the market for, 60 days. And that's very long in our current market condition.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, buying it at the Zillow estimate is going to be profitable for them at the end. I don't know if you guys want Redfin now information. I don't know if I'm overstepping or anything. Sorry. This is like my second day on Clubhouse, so it's very new to me, but yeah.
Well, welcome to Clubhouse. Your second day on Clubhouse. You are live on a international podcast. So welcome to the platform. And we, it's become a broker technically. So as LJ Custon said, Zillow's a broker now. So I think they are becoming more and more competitive with Redfin. It seems like they're going that direction. And it'll be interesting to see what they do in the future. So thanks for sharing, Charlene. And, who was it? Someone last week was talking about a property that was represented by one of the iBuyers, and as compared to all of the other houses that were on the market, it was priced about right, but it wasn't as appealing to the buyer. It was cold, it was unfamiliar, it was not friendly, it was just a different feel. So until they get that side of the transaction mastered, I think there's going to be a lot of room for agents to just provide a different level of service. But at the same time, I don't hate it. I don't. A lot of people are like, oh, I can't stand this. It's going to take out real estate agents and all that. I don't think so. I think it may make it more difficult for investors, but I don't think this is really a play versus real estate agents. But let me get to Terrence. Terrence, tell us who you are, what market you serve, and what do you think about this?
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I am Terrence. I'm in North Carolina. I service Greensboro, Hickory, and the Charlotte market. And as far as the Zillow stuff is concerned, my background is, we are investors, but my background is in car sales. And so Zillow, all of this stuff is like, it's pretty comical to me. Zillow is no different than like what Kelley Blue Book is, right? So when someone has a trade-in and they're looking for information, they go to Kelley Blue Book. Kelley Blue Book gives you a range and they say, hey, this is what the car is worth. What Zillow does with their Zestimate, they're going to do this cash offer. Somebody alluded to that, they have their estimates based off the data, but Glenn Sanford from EXP did a nice breakdown of kind of their total fees. Their fees in comparison to real estate fees are about 11% compared to about 6% commission side when you can put in the holding cost and all of those things. It's just going to serve as, they are going to brokerage. And so they're more so a competitor, no different than guys who are at Keller Williams versus Century 21 versus Remax. And so as an agent, you're going to have to be more competitive and get your skill set up so that you can offer similar services in that one-stop shop. They're no different than they're really just doing SEO and marketing and figuring out how to get to that, create that funnel to get to that consumer. I think everyone's scared because Zillow, we helped build their brand. And it's kind of coming back on us, but it's nothing really to worry about. The agents aren't going anywhere.
I love that comparison between Zillow and the Kelley Blue Book values and then the car sales. That is a solid comparison. I haven't thought about that one yet, but that is really like Kelley Blue Book's going to tell you, here's about what you could get. The difference is that Kelley is not a buyer. Right. But still, I think the I think the analogy is a great comparison, which that's what Mike Elizabeth just.
Well, if you don't know what Kelley Blue Book is, it's a car valuation, and they give you a low, medium, and high. So if your car is in this condition, it's worth that, and then medium, and then high condition, and miles, and all that stuff, and they give you a range. You can kind of value your car yourself, and then you can sell it yourself, kind of thing. So what they're saying is let Zillow value your home, and then you sell it through a real estate agent to get the actual max money.
Yeah. Oh, wait. LJ Custon, man, you were on it today.
He's killing it today.
He gave us the link for kellybluebook.com/instant-cash-offer.
So they are.
So they are about it now. Which wait, Terrence is I can't hear you, Terrence, until I come to you. So hang on. All right, tell me what you're gonna say.
So that's what I was going to tell you is Kelley Blue Book does have a platform where they give you an instant offer. That offer is much more in depth than their Kelley Blue Book trade-in value. It will ask you specific things about the condition of the car, the exterior of the car, the tires, the history of the vehicle, and then they give you a cash offer. That cash offer then goes to one of their partners. So it further models Zillow, right? Because say I don't take the cash offer. I know what Kelley Blue Book says my car is worth. Then they have their partners, which all their dealer partners pay for leads and opportunities. So if that seller who got that cash offer from Kelley Blue Book walks into one of their partners, that Kelley Blue Book is now going to draw a referral fee or a marketing fee from that dealer, which is the same thing that Zillow is doing. If you look at Zillow's complete numbers, they're only profitable in this Zestimate, and they're only wanting to find more ways to get into the transaction side, and that's why they're going to brokerage. So it's really just another competitor, guys. We'll be fine, I promise you.
That's so interesting. So that's just like the Flex program, right?
Yeah.
They're sending the lead, then taking the referral on the back end. There's nothing new under the sun. Like every time we do this show, I'm like, oh wow. So all right, let me get to some of these Facebook comments.
So essentially, Zillow is following Kelley Blue Book's model.
Yeah, pretty much. This is not new. This is just Kelley Blue Book.
That's all it is. It's been KBB the whole time.
All right, before I come to Nico and Clubhouse, I want to get some of these Facebook comments, and I also want to reference the profitability, which he was just talking about. So when the newscaster asked, how much money do you guys make off of the Zillow offers properties, off the iBuying these properties, and then you turn around and flip them? What is your return per home? And the executive's response was it was like, it was really funny if you watch it back. I don't think he anticipated that question because he stuttered.
So they didn't screen the questions first?
I don't know, but he was stuttering like I am right now. And and then he started talking about how, it's really a long-term thing and their goal is to raise awareness, yada, yada, yada. Well, we know from doing the show that whenever they reported on the iBuyer program in years past that they lose millions and millions of dollars every quarter. And one of the things he said is that right now, this is just about raising awareness of the program, which is exactly what Lance was saying, raising the brand awareness of exactly what they're doing. And I don't think they're looking at it as a cost, like, let's make this much money per flip. I think for them, they're looking at it like we look at some Cutco knives. It's a marketing cost.
Right.
Yes, they may lose $4,000 or $5,000 on this property, but think of all the people that have been through that property and all the data they've collected and all the buyers they've gotten. And then those buyers that they referred to their partners, and then they get paid referrals from those partners. This is a marketing cost that they can afford when they're making $400+ million from real estate agents off of these properties that they're sending the leads to. So it sounds, to me, it makes sense that they would offer this and take a loss and not really care. Dusty Martin's with us. Hey, Dust. She says Zillow is most definitely a broker now. Got slapped hard by the ADRE in Arizona and forced to become a brokerage. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. LJ said you're also likely going to pay more in the transaction costs than if you were through a traditional realtor. That's what Terrence was saying too. A realtor will charge you about 6%. iBuyers charge 7.5%. 7.5% is a standard fee on their websites. The exact fee will be communicated to you during the process, which it does go up. Let's see. Matthew Clinton says,
and by the way, that's 7.5%. If you're paying a full percent commission or a full 6% commission with closing costs, and like even if you covered $1,000 in termite and all that stuff, you're still less than that 7.5%.
Matthew Clinton says, I'm about to see what they'll give me for my 60-day-old car.
But wait, there's more. Go to his next comment.
Oh, he says they won't buy it. He already went to Kelly Blue Book. They won't buy his Tesla. That's funny. Melissa Mars on YouTube. She says, remind me not to go to KBB to get my car's value. I don't need those calls. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. They're sharing their data there too. Dusty says, in my market, iBuyers are charging 11 to 17% while having billboards that say, don't pay a realtor high fees. Oh, that's cold.
Wow. So, okay. So, but they call theirs fees or whatever, but that the buzzword is commissions. You know, there's been the sellers suing local boards for commission, non-transparency and all that stuff, and non-competitive and all that stuff. So they call it, no, these are just fees. Yes, you pay more in fees, but you're not paying a commission.
Right.
So there you go. It's
technically not paying a commission.
It's better. Fees are better.
All right, so let me go to Nico, and I'd like to go to Manish and William. I know you joined. William Tong. Have we had William Tong ever on the show? I don't think we have. So I met William at a conference, and we had a grand old time. We went and ate Thai food at where there was a famous celebrity. Maybe he'll tell us when he came on it that ate there. Just before, it was like Nelly or something like that. And we went to this Thai food restaurant with a bunch of the people from Tom Ferry. Super cool guy. He's the one that helped me find the places on Clubhouse that are not just like money grubbing gurus that are like, hey, if you want the answer to that, just go to my Instagram and then sign up for a class, and then I'm going to charge you out the wazoo $5,000 of coaching. So he helped me find a community of people on there called the Real Estate Network, which is where we are broadcasting live through. And the Real Estate Network is a group of real estate agents, real estate professionals that are all about giving more value, giver's gain type of thing. It's actually even been better for me than BNI was, because I'm able to network with agents around the country, and those agents will send me referrals. I'll send them referrals, and they're legit people. They're not fakers. And so we have people that are new, like Charlene that came in totally new to the game, sometimes new in the real estate industry, and also new to Clubhouse. And it's been a really cool way to connect using audio only. And when I first joined it, I think I even poo-pooed it on the show. I was like, who is going to join an app that is conference calls turned into social media, right? But it's actually legit if you can find the right people. And
but then you used it and you got super excited.
Yeah. After I hooked up with William, and then he hooked me up with this group, then I was super excited. Yeah. But from everything I was seeing, I was texting William. I was like, William is just a bunch of blowhards on here, man. Okay. Let me get to Nico. Nico, I want to hear what you have to say about this Zillow thing. Nico was on our show last week. If you remember, he was getting groceries out of his car.
Yeah.
So here he is. Nico, what's up, man? Welcome.
Usually my days off, so I'm actually going to Costco shortly after this call. After so how you doing? How's everyone doing?
We're good, man.
So my take on the whole Zillow thing is, for years, realtors kept on saying how the Zillow estimate was trash. It's not worth it. And this is Zillow pretty much putting them, they're basically hands in their pockets and say, hey, listen, we're not wrong. And a matter of fact, the reason why we're not wrong is because now we'll pay you for it. Now, listen, my Zillow estimate on my house is $100,000 less than my actual the comps in the area.
Whoa.
So if, in a way, I feel like they're looking to make money in some markets by basically buying the properties low and pretty much saying, hey, listen, we've been telling you for years, this is what it is. And this, now we're putting, that to fruition, and we're purchasing it. And other markets, they may be making money saying that the estimate is higher than what the value is. So I think it's just them trying to call us out and saying, well, all the realtors are actually wrong and we're right.
Oh, wow. Now, Nico, is it available in your area?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I heard it over the weekend like many others. And I just haven't had a chance to look to see if the North Jersey, New York metro area is in that market, if they offer it or not.
Well, because it's not available in Ray's area, and there, would you say Ray's 70 grand low, and it is available in my area and they're about 50 grand high. So I'd be curious, because if they are available in your area, then they're just trying to, I don't know. Why would they offer low or start low when they know on the open market? But again, that kind of goes back to they just don't know. It's an AI.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think a lot of their data in years past, they had that score. You could go to their website and see the score. It was the accuracy number, and our accuracy number has never been within the range that they would consider confident. And so a lot of times we're having discussions with sellers, and it's not one way or the other. Like, in some areas it's like they're always high over here, always low over here. It is literally all over the place. And there's just not a lot of spec home areas. Even our spec homes get customized. So I don't know. Arkansas is pretty tough to do comparative market analysis for appraisers. So to have an AI algorithm that runs that, I would say it's nearly impossible. So probably smaller cities and towns, I bet Zillow will kind of stay away from it, because any question mark in their data is an opportunity for way more loss than they're anticipating. And like I said, I think this is a loss leader for them. I don't think they really intended to make money on it. I think they use it as a marketing cost. All right,
yeah, but I mean, when you lose 180 million, but I guess, I mean, if you're making 500, I guess,
Yeah. Let me get to Manesh. I think that I said your name right. Are you in the room? Where are you from, and where do you work, and what do you think about this, man?
Hey, Ray. My name's Manish. Nice to meet you. I've been in a lot of rooms with you and enjoy you spitting those diamonds. So enjoyed listening to you the last week that I've been in Clubhouse, and thanks for having me up. So I work in Greater Boston. I work with a lot of real estate developers and investors myself, and I'm very much not into the whole Zillow thing. I feel like they are really, in my opinion, the reason why they take these losses and stuff is because of balance sheet needs. I think that taking depreciation into account, and the fact that, like you're saying, that they're choosing which markets to do a lot of this stuff in. I think there's, they're probably buying it, in my opinion, probably into a fund or selling it to some investors that they have some sort of, relationship with. But there's a lot of ways in real estate to take advantage of losses. When you're making $400 million on the other side, it can really turn into a pretty good tax haven. So I think that their whole process is, it's really all encompassing. I mean, they literally just bought my MLS in Greater Boston. Like, they control all of us now, our whole system, like the actual RETS feed that feeds all of the MLSs in the state of Massachusetts. They now own that RETS feed. So their degree of insurgence into the market it's just unbelievable.
Breaking news. When did that happen? I didn't even see that. Zillow bought the Boston RETS.
Is that an MLS?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the MLS.
Is there a story about this?
Yeah, this is huge. I mean, this is what I think the agents, what you're saying, like this, I think this affects us greatly. It's basically, just now. So now what they've now done is, for instance, like if I want to use my local, the RETS feed also supplies in our MLS the market data, like, houses that have sold recently, the public records, And now when I want to put it on my own website, the public record supplied by my MLS RETS, I now have to give them credit on my website. Saying this public record was supplied by Zillow.
Whoa. What MLS is that?
That's the Greater Boston Real Estate Board. I think it's called MLS Pinergy.
MLS.
But the RETS feed is one step above that. It's like that's going to serve anyone that's receiving the data, whether it be my one MLS, or I think there's 7 MLSs in Massachusetts, or all 7 of those.
Wait. Okay, wait. I found
the RETS feed. I think that's the key to understand, that if they start buying all the RETS feeds around the country, they basically are our universal MLS system.
They become the full-on data provider then. And then could they, I don't think they can control that data, because that data is controlled by agreements on the brokerages and such, but they are the data provider and it goes to them first. I found that there's an article that I can't get past this blasted paywall, but Zillow's buying a Chicago. I put
boomer.
I put in the search term Zillow buys MLS, and there's one in Chicago that came up too, where Zillow is paying $500 million for a Chicago tech company, and that may be the article, but I haven't. We're gonna have to do a little bit of digging. We'll definitely be posting this in the Bearded Men of Real Estate contributors group as well as the RETV group. But that is really interesting. Thank you, Manish, for letting us know that. That's
dude.
No, I do a lot of this stuff for like I developing like tech for real estate and stuff. So when a lot of this stuff happens, like for instance, my MLS contacted me to be one of their testers of their redoing their systems. And so when I started talking to them about it, these are the things that I found out after digging deeper, talking to the person that's actually running the kind of upheaval of their site. And so I know that they literally, from what I understand, it's like a $500 million purchase. And they're just going around and making sure that they control every aspect of this industry. And I think it's bad. I really think that, localized real estate, like you guys are saying, like, I don't think the agents are, I think the agents are very useful. I think the brokers are very useful. I think having a local understanding of the market is very helpful. My house is appraised for, $180,000 more than the Zestimate. So I didn't sell it. I was just refining. But I know that Zillow's kind of estimates are really kind of, in my market at least, very much, if they were going to come in and try to buy things as a iBuyer, it's in their favor. So, and the other thing I wanted to bring up, and I'll leave you alone after this, is that, as real estate agents, we have to follow a lot of laws. Like I do a lot of, dual agency contracts, but I have to do them by the law. And now if they're going to be a broker, are they going to be too big to control, to go back to follow the laws? Because like, I don't know how it is in your state, but in our state, I have to first provide a form that says, a notice of a consent to dual agency, which says, before I start marketing your home, if I am going to represent both sides, you're okay with that right from the beginning. And then after that I'm representing, I then have to give a notice of dual agency form saying, now I've identified a buyer. I am going to represent both sides. I again need to ask your permission to represent both sides. How are we going to keep Zillow honest about that when they're so big?
Wow.
Ray,
my mind is blown right now.
Oh wait, Lance wants to say something, but let me comment. Like when Walmart messes up, you know how happy everyone gets to sue Walmart? I think that's what's going to happen with Zillow. Like everyone's going to find every little thing they can and try to sue them. So I think they're going to be, they're going to be beholden to the same law we as real estate agents are. Now, are there ways that they can circumvent it? Because now they have two companies, they have a brokerage, and then they have a search portal. And is that going to be the same? And how all that's going to be regulated? There's going to have to be some regulations put into place more than likely to work with companies like Zillow and some of the larger brands like Redfin that are doing the iBuyer programs. And we saw Coldwell Banker and Keller Williams also tried to start their iBuyer programs. So anytime a real estate brokerage interacts with a consumer and is not necessarily representing that consumer or is doing something for that consumer that kind of benefits them more directly, as in taking over the property and then being able to resell it for a profit, I think those are the points of conflict where we'll see a lot of regulation be put in place to kind of control them, tie their hands. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it'll stop them from growing. I mean, if they're buying the REITs feeds, which I still haven't found. I'm looking for this online, and we'll try to find it and report on it maybe next week.
LJ said he can't verify it in his comment.
That's Lance, by the way, and that's joining us.
There you go.
Too. So if they do buy those feeds though, and they are in control of that data, that does put a lot of real estate agents who don't want to work with Zillow in a predicament, right? It kind of forces them to work with them.
Yeah, like
maybe they did that or started doing that when everyone else was paying attention to the iBuyer program and when everyone else was paying attention to the showing time acquisition. They had another acquisition in there that just didn't get the news, but I'll see what I can do to find it. I'll also contact my Zillow rep because he's really cool about it. He actually, he tells me all kinds of stuff, who it's good for, who it's not good for, who the flex program's good for, who the flex program's not good for, what areas they're entering into and what they're not. And he's super chill. So
does he know you do a weekly show?
Oh yeah. I send him our episodes.
So
here, I actually so this was interesting too. Last, I think it was a week or a week and a half ago, I had a great conversation with him and he said, so what are the agents saying about Zillow? And so we went into the showing time acquisition. I told him a lot of the feedback that we got from the show and the people on Clubhouse that came up and shared with us what they were experiencing. And, I told him my opinion, what I thought was bollocks, and then what I thought was actual legit concern. And I told him, I said, look, the number one concern, I think the legit concern out there is that we as real estate agents are uploading our data to a competing broker. And that's where the concern lies. Like if Keller Williams opened a showing service, I would never use it. My brokerage would never use that. And that's just good practice to have that division where they are a competing broker in my space. So why would I give them my seller's contact information? But that does not make sense. There are people in our area that redact the contact information of their clients from the showing, not the showing, but the closing instructions.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be able to trust the other agent across the table, but they're sitting there redacting all that information. They give it to the title company unredacted, but they give it to me redacted. So, all right, Lance, what do you have to say, man?
So even if they did buy the MLS, and on your own IDX website, you wouldn't have to show Zillow. You would just show the broker display that the listing is coming from. So if it's coming from Remax or whoever your broker is, you'd have to display that, but you probably wouldn't in the IDX feed have to display Zillow unless they change the name of the MLS to the Zillow Boston MLS. So, I've been looking for 20 minutes now as soon as he said it. And I've also asked 3 or 4 people myself, and I still haven't been able to verify this either.
So I'm just going to.
Oh, wait. What'd you say, Manish?
Now in the email exchange with my MLS company. So the company that handles our Rets feed in Massachusetts, it's called Bridge Interactive. I can send you the article of Zillow buying them, and also on top of that, I also took a screenshot of when they asked me to test their new systems, the MLS. There's also now, where it used to be an agreement between us and MLS, now you also have to sign a separate Zillow agreement, which comes from Zillow Group through my MLS system just to test the MLS system. So they do not own the MLS, they own the data provider that the MLS uses, and therefore the MLS is forced to now make a dual agreement with real estate brokers.
So can you opt out of that, or do you have to sign it?
Well, it looks so. I'm looking at it now. Bridge Interactive. I did find their website. On their website, they have frequently asked questions like data usage. Can we store Zillow data through the Bridge API? No. You may use the API only to retrieve, but it doesn't say can Zillow store your data. It doesn't ask that question. It says can you store Zillow data? So it looks like Bridge Interactive is it's some kind of data and API provider. Since 2021, Bridge Interactive, owned and operated by Zillow Groups, right there at the bottom of their website. Okay, so that will send us on a trail. We can report back next week with more information. Thank you guys for including that. That's pretty awesome that you joined the show and gave us additional news.
Well, this is like when obviously we talked about it, but when Zillow bought Showing Time and they did buy, Tom Butts confirmed it. Yeah. Zillow bought Dotloop in 2015. But when they bought Showing Time, and my MLS which is the CRMLS, California Regional Multiple Listing Service, they sent out an email kind of late, in my opinion. It only went out a couple of days ago, but I shared it to our contributors group, which we do have BMRE contributors with an exclamation point over on Facebook if you want to be a part of that. I shared it to that group, and essentially they said we have a contract in place and Showing Time is going to adhere to the guidelines or the rules of that contract. But what happens when that contract is up? Then what happens? So I think that. So Ryan says Bridge is not the data provider. They are an API provider. They just link the data provider to the end user. So, there's contracts in place covering all this stuff, but what's going to happen when there isn't?
Yeah. Or when they touch a spot that's not been touched yet. Mike Elizabeth Brodell says yes, but when we feature another brokerage's property, it lists the agent's name and is not listed after 3 preferred agents paying for space. Okay.
It's interesting.
So that's interesting. Sure. And that Bridge Interactive acquisition was made in 2016. So they've actually had that for a while. But that's very interesting to see I don't know how they're going to use this API or what they're doing with this API. So we'll look into that and call back. An API is basically a communications interface from one software to another.
They just how they talk to each other.
Yeah, that's the Raymond's Get it?